Hello, Andrew. Reverend Carl here. I wanted to post a video response per your request, as you said that if somebody had something to comment on this, to leave you a video response. So that's what I thought I'd do. Now, you were talking about the how the 6 actual days couldn't have happened 6,000, 7,000 years ago, because logically that doesn't make sense when we can see planets that are 100 million light years away. So I thought we'd go over that. And let me say that logically, looking at the way you presented it, that makes sense. Um, but I would ask that if we could look at it a little bit deeper and take a little, you know, more thorough investigation into it, we might see where it actually does make a little bit of sense. So I was wondering if you could go get that Bible that you were reading out of, and let's go right back to Genesis where he was, and we'll take a look at it here. Okay. All right. We're going to start at in the beginning at Genesis 1 verse 1, and this is what it says. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. All right, let's stop here for a moment at the end of verse 2. Now you notice that it doesn't give us any time right here. It's not saying it was 6,000 years ago. It's not saying it was 100,000 years ago, a million years ago, a billion, or whatever. It just says in the beginning. So we don't know when the beginning was. It could have, we can't conceive that because it doesn't give us any numbers or timeline that we understand. Okay, so let's go on. Starting at verse 3. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning the first day. Okay, now we're on that timeline. Okay, so at this point, it kind of sounds like this is a time when perhaps God lit the sun up and got that going. It doesn't really say. He just says there was light and there was darkness, and there was day and there was night. So that's the first day. Now let's go on. And God said, let there be an expanse between the waters to separate water from water. So God made the expanse and separated the water under the expanse from the water above it. And it was so. God called the expanse sky, and there was evening and there was morning the second day. Okay, so here it looks like he took this formless, this mass of water, this glob of whatever it is that we now call Earth, and he took and actually put an expanse between them, so what we would call our air that we have. So he's got the water below and he's got the water above, which would be like the top of our atmosphere. All right, so okay, we'll go on from there. And God said, let the water under the sky be gathered into one place, and let dry ground appear. And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees, and the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds. All right, we can stop here, and then, because the rest of the days go on, and at the end, God took a break. So, but what he's saying here is now he's created the land down below, and he's given an area so that the vegetation can start to grow. Now, when we look at all these things that he's did, and if you notice at the very beginning, he said he created the heavens and the earth. Okay, so if you study the Bible, you'll find that there's basically three heavens that he talks about. And in some areas they even break those down into more, but the basics, let's go with just three. All right, the first heaven is the area that's between our outer atmosphere and the earth itself. Okay, we've got a heaven in there, and then we also have the second heaven is from the edge of our atmosphere all the way out to the end of the universe, where all the stars and planets are, what we call space. That's our second heaven. And in the third heaven is the heaven where God dwells, where he lives with Jesus and the angels, and that's the third heaven. Okay? So all that, he created those. He could have created that 100,000 years ago, a million, billion years ago, 100 billions, whatever. Uh, that was one time. That was at the beginning. We don't know that time, but sometime around 7,000 years ago, he decided to take this mass that we now call Earth and turn it into the Earth that we know it as today. So when you look at it, you really can't say, well, because something out there is 100 million light years away, how can we see it? How can it possibly be? It never said that it wasn't out there at that time. It's just that you have to understand there is no, in those first two verses, there is no time limit, there is no timeline. So I just, I wanted to show you this a little bit, and I want you to remember that, a lot of this, you have to have some kind of faith in God and in His Word to be able to believe that there's truth here. And God said that He would give us faith, but the faith that He gives us is the faith that if we step out and believe in Him and ask Him, say, God, are you real? Show me that you're real. Because we as humans, a lot of times we need to have physical evidence in front of us. We need to have proof. If you can't show me that it exists or prove that it exists, I'm not going to believe it. That's just the way we are. That's our nature. And what God has done is He gives us enough faith to say, okay, if you step out just a little bit, I will prove to you that I exist. And believe me, this is true. If you give Him the opportunity to show you that He exists and really truly want it, He will manifest Himself to you. You will know that He's real. And at that point, that's when your beliefs are opened up enough that you can accept His Son as your Savior. And then you can be really connected with God. So, like I said, I wanted to go into this a little bit deeper and show you that there really isn't that time thing. That's not, the way you were thinking about it. And like I said, you were thinking logically. It's just that I think you missed the point that at the very beginning He doesn't give us a time. So with that, I just want to say, thank you for letting me respond. I hope you have a great day, and God bless you, Andrew. Take care.